Robert Downey Jr. is reportedly set to return as Tony Stark in the Black Widow movie. That's the headline on today's MBE Heroes.
That is correct, John. That is the headline this week on Heroes, and it's very intriguing news indeed. I'm very interested and very intrigued to, obviously have your thoughts on the wording of this article as well, because of course it does say Tony Stark is reportedly returning for the Black Widow movie, not Iron Man.
Stephen, I think that's very deliberate wording on the article's part. I think this has been broken from Deadline, or not even broken, they apparently just nonchalantly threw this in, that everyone apparently knows that Robert Downey Jr. is returning in Black Widow, after obviously that incredible sacrifice that he made at the end of Avengers Endgame. If you haven't seen that movie, then woe betide. Don't look to me for spoiling the movie. Yeah. Where the hell have you been? Have you been on Titan? Get your arse back and watch the movie. But I digress, Stephen. He made a sacrifice. He's dead. He's been back.
As a zombie.
As a zombie. Probably not him. Probably just used his likeness.
Yeah.
Because that's what Disney and all these studios do now. They do 3D scans of every single actor who's under their roster of movies. And then they can use their likeness for eternity, essentially. But Stephen, it'd be interesting to have him back, but they are essentially Deadline. We're off on a tangent already, saying this quite matter of fact that Robert Downey Jr. is in there. But you're right, Stephen. Tony Stark, I think it's very deliberate, that use. I don't think we will see Iron Man.
No.
The actual suit, the full phone in action.
Need, John.
No, I think it will be Tony Stark. I think that maybe a quiet moment, because of course, with a different, obviously, versions of what's happening in this movie, it's apparently going to go back to her childhood in I think the 90s, or maybe even her teenage years, perhaps not her childhood, where she's very much escaping the clutches of the Soviet Union, KGB.
Yeah, the KGB,
She's been trained to be this assassin, much like we've seen in Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Then it will jump many years later, and it will take place after the events of Civil War. I was about to say Avengers Civil War. No, Captain America Civil War.
That's right,
I think she sided with Captain America, Steve Rogers. I've not seen the movie in a number of years. I may be completely wrong, but if that is true, I think it may be a quiet little moment. Just them maybe making up, perhaps. I don't know. Him having a little chance, saying, "Look, it's all right. I understand what your motivations were." Because I don't want to say by the events of Infinity War they'd made up, because I don't actually think they shared a moment together. No. He went off with obviously Doctor Strange, who was whisked away on that spaceship.
I think if they were going to cover any moments, as you call them, John, in between those films, it would probably make more sense for the whole explanation between Bruce Banner and obviously Black Widow, because as we know, the relationship just before he went off to Ragnarok, what his situation was in Ragnarok, it wasn't really explained. There was that kind of awkwardness between them meeting again. But I'm going off on a tangent, John. We're talking about Tony Stark here.
No, tangents are good, Stephen.
I think
good.
It wouldn't make sense for him to appear de-aged in her sort of childhood, as you said, John, in the sort of early 90s or mid-90s, whenever that may have been, because at this point, obviously, the Avengers initiative hadn't been set up. The events of Iron Man and Incredible Hulk hadn't happened yet, so it would have to take place, as you said, and if that's true, obviously the reports coming in are that it is going to take place after the events of Civil War, John. So, if you're asking me personally, would I want to see it? Probably not that fussed, to be honest with you. But for obviously the narrative and for it to make sense, I think it has to be in there in some capacity. But I don't think it should be in there, in any sort of large role or anything like that. I think what you said, John, in a sort of lesser role, just to sort of show his presence in the film, that he is around. I think it makes sense. He is the sort of organiser and the sort of unelected leader of the Avengers. So it would make sense that he'd been there in some capacity. It does obviously beg the question, who else is going to appear from that collection of superheroes in this film?
Yes, Stephen, again, it may just be purely for continuity reasons. Tying this movie in with the rest of the MCU. Also, this is part of Phase 4, but ties mostly back to the events we've seen in Phase 1, 2 and 3. So perhaps it's just a way to tie it in with the rest of the movie. We don't know, or the MCU, we don't know when this, if he's even in it. First and foremost, it hasn't been confirmed. It may be a complete hogwash. It might
Certainly
not be
by
true.
the time this show goes out,
By
John.
the time this is pre-recorded, this will be our headline, Stephen. By the time it goes out, it's probably been confirmed that he's not in the movie, so completely not everything we're saying.
The headline might change.
Yeah, it may change, and this may be third topic in, and we'll have to redo the whole headline, but that's okay. I'm still gushing away nonsensically here, Stephen, about the potential appearance of one Robert Downey Jr. But yeah, Stephen, it may just be, depending on how this movie's structured, timelines, when we're going back and forth, it could be 90s, it could be our interaction with him could be prior to the events of Iron Man. He's very much just Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to handle it. I'm very intrigued for this movie though. Very intrigued to see David Harbour as Red Harbour, I should say, not Harbour. I'm doing a Terry Henry again there and changing people's names. To see him as Red Guardian, there's a whole host of things you're in. Stephen, I'd like to see more unofficial cameos in here which haven't been announced yet. The likes of, as you did say, Bruce Banner coming in, obviously Mark Ruffalo, and alluding to that relationship they have, what he's been getting up to. Perhaps Clint Barton, obviously Jeremy Renner coming in, and alluding to the little connections. What happened, was it Budapest, they said?
Yeah.
When they were on their way to, I believe, Voromir.
That's right, yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to see it tying in
There
with
was a
all the
reason they
different
put
moments.
those bits in there, John, but you're right, and I think if you go back to Tom Hiddleston's appearance in Endgame, he had a couple of scenes. He had the scene where he was lying down throwing, I think, the ball or an apple or whatever it was, in the end catching it where Thor was sneaking by him. And then also the 2012 flashbacks where he escapes, obviously, his arrestment. He didn't utter a word the whole in any of those scenes. It could be, obviously an uncredited role from Robert Downey Jr. It could be a non-speaking part where you're actually just seeing him, his presence, walking by in a scene or something like that. So we don't really know the capacity. It's all very early days, but it's intriguing.
Stephen, the final thing I will add, you're absolutely right, I didn't touch upon it, is the actual size of the role, the potential cameo he has in this movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter whether he speaks to the size, such as the gravitas and the charisma of the man, screen presence he commands. He can come in and do a job, no problem, and he will fit merrily into the actual main story. I'm sure about it. I hope it's true. I really do. From a personal stance, I've not actually gave that yet. I've just went off in gushing tangents about Red Guardian and Lord knows what else.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he is in it. I want to see him one last time because he's very much dead. He won't be coming back. This will be a great send-off again for the character.
I think so, John.
Pre-death send-off. So I hope it's true.
And I don't think it's going to take it away from what happened in Endgame either. It's not going to dilute the emotional impact of those closing scenes, John, for the character.
No, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll move on anyway. This is a film that's obviously in this phase coming up, and it's Thor: Love and Thunder director says Chris Hemsworth is the star of the movie.
In typical Taika Waititi fashion.
Yeah. I mean,
what you say.
but he basically says it's talking about Chris Hemsworth. It's a Thor film. He is Thor. It's a Thor film. She's in it. So it's very abrupt, from the director. But I think basically sometimes you have to do this. There was obviously this kind of I'm going to say a Scottish saying here, a stramash. That means there was obviously a bit of a backlash and a bit of a heated debate in regards to Thor's his sort of appearance in this upcoming film and what his capacity and what his role is going to be in the story. Whether it was going to be overshadowed by obviously Natalie Portman's character as the mighty Thor, Jane Foster character. I think what the director is doing here, he's nipping it in the bud very early days. Well, I say early days, he probably should have nipped it in the bud the day after, obviously, Comic-Con. But it doesn't really matter because I never really gave it that much thought. I just assumed it's going to be a Thor film and Thor's going to be in it. He's going to be the main man once again. It is his film. I think the purpose of the Mighty Thor character, the Jane Foster character, is to introduce her into this world as this character now. Obviously this version of Jane Foster, and it's the best way probably to do it. You're not going to give that character a standalone film, on her own. I don't think that would be very wise. I think the development of the character will sit well in place in this film, bouncing off Chris Hemsworth, because I thought both of them, Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, their chemistry in that original Thor film was excellent.
It was, yeah.
Somewhere down the line, obviously behind the scenes stuff with Natalie Portman and the studio, something happened. There's all been reports. Nothing's ever been confirmed in regards to what actually happened, but she was obviously watered down, certainly for the Dark World, and then totally non-existent in Ragnarok. So it's very interesting to see how they're going to handle this character, John, the Natalie Portman one, but I never for a moment thought that they were going to dilute the character and the presence, the screen presence of obviously Thor, because it's Thor's film.
Yes, Stephen, absolutely. I agree with everything you've said. It is very much Thor's film. There was never at any stage any doubt in my mind that this would be focused primarily on Chris Hemsworth and his role in the movie going forward. I think I've really enjoyed perhaps this story out of, maybe aside to Steve Rogers in the MCU the most. The development of that character, even just the actor himself has alluded to it. He was quite stuffy and arrogant and aloof in the first movie. He was very up himself. Yeah. But he's let his hair down gradually as the MCU has obviously expanded out. Yeah. Literally in some cases shaved it off. He's grown a beer belly. He's developed. He's become more comedic within the universe. Yeah. There's been more elements of Chris Hemsworth actually putting his personality into the character. Think so, yeah. And he says he had to fight with the directors and whatnot. I can't recall who was the first director of Thor. Was that?
Oh, now you're asking. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall. But I recall he had slight issues with the character's direction. Yeah. And he was allowed to ad-lib a few things in and do some, as I did say, more of his personality into the Thor character as it went on. So that'll be interesting, Steve, to see how that will bounce off of the Jane Foster character. The last time we've seen her with, obviously, Thor, he was this slightly stuffier version of the character. Now he's very much different. He's been through a journey emotionally. He's been in a dark place. Hopefully when we see him again, he'll be in a much higher spirited, better place.
It's Kenneth Branagh, John.
Kenneth Branagh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
I thought it was him, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So that'll be intriguing to see how the relationship is, if they still got that connection there, or is she this slightly different character. I don't know how they're going to balance the two. It's going to be very interesting to see how Mjolnir's handled in this as well, how they explain why she is capable of wielding it. There is a couple of theories flying around, Stephen, about this, that perhaps also because Odin died, that the spell about being worthy was obviously lifted thereafter.
Possibly.
And that's maybe why she's able to lift it. Perhaps it's not the same Mjolnir, it may be
perhaps that's the reason Steve Rogers was able to.
Exactly, Stephen, that's, because it's been broken, the spell, it's from a different time.
I would still like to think that the Steve Rogers situation was more to do with him being worthy, to be honest with you, John.
Just fits better.
That theory does, obviously, it does fit, to be honest with you, but...
perhaps he's just worthy.
Could be,
in some way. I think with Steve Rogers, he was just the ultimate good. He was the moral compass throughout the whole story, and that was why he was worthy to lift it. I think they say that even in the comics, there's always one person from every sort of a planet who's capable of lifting Mjolnir. Now that Steve's gone, maybe it's Jane who is now stepping into those big shoes. Stephen, though, way off on a tangent there, but look, I'm not surprised at all. I fully expect, as you did say, them to come in and bounce off of each other very well. They did have good chemistry prior to it. I'm sure that will continue on with the actors. And it'll be great to see how Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, and obviously Thor and Chris Hemsworth, how they all come together in the story. How Cog, hopefully, I hope that's his name, Taika Waititi, he has to have a cameo again.
I think he will.
Even if he's just getting trash talked on Fortnite or whatever. We have to see Taika Waititi coming back. One of the unsung heroes of the Infinity Saga. That line at the end of Ragnarok about the foundations of a good world being there and then imploding in itself. In the nonchalant way he just says, oh, well, maybe not, or something along those lines. One of the best lines in the whole movie.
A sort of tragic situation that they made light of it, but that's just the director's sort of style. But John, we'll move on to our final article, a bit of DC news for a change coming in here, and this is Suicide Squad director is sick of being blamed for Warner Brothers changes. This is David Ayer, of course, who directed the Suicide Squad, I think, was it 2017, 2016, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was 2016, Stephen, I may be wrong.
He has come out 2016. He has come out on Twitter to say the film industry is exactly what it is. It's an industry, it keeps growing and moving forward, yet I know at James Gunn will make something amazing. My frustration comes from being hammered for something that was not my original vision. It's silly because in hindsight, if you do go back, if you're want to subject yourself to it, watching the original Suicide Squad film, John, that studio interferences all over it. You know, the pacing of the film, some of the edits as well was all over the place. It reeked of, you know, just that interference from the studio, Warner Brothers. So it's interesting to see the director coming out about this. That unfortunately for him, you know, I think what he's trying to do here is he's trying to make people more aware that this wasn't his vision. This was obviously the studio's vision. There is a cut out there somewhere. Problem he's got with that is he's probably fallen on the coattails of the Zack Snyder situation with the Justice League. Different scenarios, of course. Zack Snyder is, of course, you know, a bigger player, you know, in Hollywood. That's nothing to do with David Ayer. I think he's a fine filmmaker, but there's more attention on that sort of film as well, John. It was a very much anticipated film for the DC universe, the Justice League. Obviously, Zack Snyder's personal situation as well was highlighted very, you know, in depth throughout the coming months for that film's release, where the director, I can't remember his name, Josh Whedon came on board to take over that, and it all sparked up this fury about a Zack Snyder cut being out there. We've had the actors all coming on saying there's definitely one there. It would have been amazing if this was the release, etc, etc. Problem with this film is it's because not really many people are aware that there's an actual David Ayer version out there, and it's only really, certainly from our shores anyway, John, that this is coming to light now. I kind of feel sorry for him in a way, because like most directors, they'll do what they have to do with their vision and their storytelling, but at the end of the day, it's the studio that's putting the money forward, and they will have the final say on how a film's distributed and how it looks for its final cut as well.
Yes, Stephen, and also we spoke about this time and again with Warner Brothers and their continual interfering with productions and tonal aspects of a movie, even down to like the colour palettes as well.
Yeah.
Try to brighten it up and trying to compete with Marvel and what they're doing, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
DC have their very own characters, stories and distinct look. The aesthetics of DC for me have always been synonymous with darker greyish palettes and their tones within the colour palette, whereas Marvel are just a more brighter. I mean, we've seen it before, we've seen it with a whole variety of other movies. They're just a brighter. Guardians of the Galaxy is the one that springs to mind as well. So bright and exuberant colours. Whereas with this one, I think we're trying too hard to appease everyone, essentially, and you're never going to get that in the comic world anyway. I'm not, as I've said time and time again, a massive comic book reader, but it's very partisan. DC fans are very much in their camp, Marvel very much in their camp. Coming in from not being involved in the comic books all that much as a young child, purely for probably financial reasons, and just being scared to try and dip my toes into this ridiculous world where there's so many stories, and where do you even start? 50, 60 years of stories. I'm not really partisan that way. I will take the best bits out. I love DC. I love Batman, Superman, even the villains are better, Lex Luthor, Joker. But I also love these minor characters now being given a platform to shine in Marvel side of things. So I don't get the partisan crap, but look, they have been trying. With Wonder Woman 1984, the poster was so bright, it was ridiculous.
Almost Ragnarok.
It was almost Ragnarok. It felt like they'd just seen that success for that, and look, we'll take that for our promotion and get people from that side on. But Stephen, I'm going off on a complete tangent here. Yeah, man, look, this cut, I'm not surprised that he's unhappy, first and foremost, because why would he not be unhappy? He's had all interfering from the studio.
His name is against
and his name, he's getting the shit flung at him. He's also seen the appreciation of James Gunn coming in, it's already trumpeting the Suicide Squad, this semi-reboot that's coming up, and he's also been put out with this. But I don't, like you says, I'm not quite seeing the comparisons with Zack Snyder. It's not similar. There's no similarities there. Zack Snyder has a very devoted fan base, and they follow him every single way. And he also had a clear, overarching vision for the DCEU in general. They wanted to see what this guy's vision was. If this tragedy hadn't struck in his personal life, what he would have did. And we've also had Kevin Smith come out and say, certainly there's the bare bones of his story there that's not finished. Would fans sit through that and watch it? That was something we spoke about before. But yeah, it's a shame, Stephen. I didn't actually know about it. I had to do a little research. There is a link in the article we're reading that explains, perhaps through I think a series of tweets, where his vision had went. I think it mostly involves extended sequences with Jared Leto's Joker, explaining his relationship a little bit more with Harley Quinn. Apparently has a scene with the Enchantress, obviously played by Cara Delevingne.
Yeah.
They do a deal. They are to go off. He's to be the king of Gotham, and then Harley Quinn doesn't agree. She wants to go away, be part of the Suicide Squad again. There's that betrayal aspect, which again would have been nice because it would play into Birds of Prey, where she says, "I'm so tired of clowns" or something in that most recent teaser. It would play into that. We don't really see that in the movie. He goes off, crashes a helicopter, and that's him gone. So I would like to see a cut. Maybe an extended cut. We've seen it with the other movies.
I think with
I would like to see it, but it's not going to happen. And I can understand why he's got up.
John, I think with the James Gunn version coming out now, we're definitely not going to see it. Perhaps maybe if this wasn't their plans, of a sort of less reboot, it probably would have been something that maybe eventually we might have seen or not. I don't know. But
would you like to have seen? Would you have liked to have seen more Jared Leto Joker? Because it was the one criticism, Stephen, people had. They utilised that bloody tuxedo sequence in the promotion. Never even got to see it really.
No.
Not enough of a character. Totally underwhelming for bringing an Oscar-winning actor like Jared Leto in.
I wouldn't have minded if he wasn't in it at all, John. To be honest with you, I didn't think there was any purpose for him being in that.
They'd been better not having them in it, Stephen.
I think his only purpose was to promote the sort of lesser characters because, for layman's that is, that are not really familiar with the Suicide Squad, I think that was the only purpose of him being in there because he didn't really, as you said, serve a purpose, John. His presence was almost invisible.
It was a romantic subplot.
He did not really put any input into the plans of the Suicide Squad or anything in that, that storyline. He was really just there for set dressing and to sort of give Harley Quinn a sort of relationship and something that ties her back and, grounds her to Gotham. But certainly, I wouldn't have liked to have seen any more of him. I don't mind the actor Jared Leto. I think he's a talented guy. He's very versatile. He's one of these the method actors, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he really gets into these roles. But the sheer look of Joker as well in this film, I didn't like from the kick-off. I didn't like the sort of
caricature,
the teeth and the hair and all that. It was almost punk-like, as if that was the look they were going for. And I didn't like his voice either. There was something about it just wasn't likeable. When you see Joaquin Phoenix and what he's doing with that character now, that's more my style of Joker. Something that's not. I get what they were trying to do. Coming off the back of Heath Ledger, they were trying something different, something that didn't look at all like the Joker we got in The Dark Knight. So I understand that they wanted to try and distance themselves from that look and that performance, but it just didn't pay off.
Well, Stephen, you're right. I prefer a more nuanced performance when it's a Joker. He's such an interesting character. He's got so much going on under the surface, and it felt like it was wholly superficial with Jared Leto. It was all on the surface, the teeth, the tattoo, the hair, as you says, the lack of eyebrows. It was all superficial. There wasn't enough going on in the meat and bones of the character.
No.
And that's
total albino gonk.
Yeah, it's blasphemy doing that with a great villain. If you're going to do it, you have to give him and dedicate a sizable portion of the movie to him. And that's perhaps why Aya is not so happy, because he did dedicate more of a portion of the movie to Joker. But DC, Warner Brothers, once again, interfering, mingling with the director's creative decision-making, tonal aspects of the movie, and running times. And it was already a long movie anyway, Stephen, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I can see where they're getting at. You have to shave it down. People aren't going to go and watch a story about a ragtag group of villainous characters with a couple of maybe stellar casting choices like Will Smith and Margot Robbie and even Jared Leto. It's not enough to carry it 3 hours. So yeah, I can understand both sides, but I side with Aya, because obviously I want to side with Aya, because I'd have liked to have seen his vision. I always like to see the director's vision if it's possible. You should release a theatrical cut and then give him an extended cut. But what wasn't to be, he's never going to see his cut seeing the light of day. Warner Brothers will not back down with James Gunn. And that's going to round up this week's episode of MBE Heroes, Stephen, because I am rambling away here like a gibbering wreck. So look, if you've got anything to say about the 3 topics we spoke about this week, you know what you can do. You can comment below and let us know what your thoughts were in the comments section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And me and Stephen will be back tomorrow with MBE Movie News.